Welcome back to another episode of On the Break. Tonight we have Kyle's back edition. He's had a stomach ache for the past 2 months and he kept trying to take edibles to fix it. Josh, J-Mac, and Kyle Beats in the office tonight. What's up, boys?
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be back. I think you do have me mistaken for my good friend Dion Waiters.
Is that Dion?
Dude, that was one of the best stories I've seen. But I'm glad to be
Dion.
back, man.
We're glad to have you back, dude. Yeah, good old Dion Waiters, always a kind of a low-key dude. So all of a sudden something like that happening is just absolutely incredible. For those that don't know, he took an edible before he got on a plane. And did he pass out? Was that what ultimately happened?
He had a panic attack.
Yeah,
okay.
He had a panic attack. He was trying to solve
Coach is going to know.
He was trying to solve for a stomach ache, which is, I don't know if that's necessarily the best treatment, but he also said it was partially because of anxiety of flying, which is like, I think you would get over that at this point in the NBA.
Yeah. I also want to know, has anybody asked the obvious question? Did his stomach feel better?
I mean, that's really all that matters because that's what he took it for.
Right.
Minus the anxiety attack. That's
that sucks.
Potential side effect.
Generally, after you eat an entire box of Oreos, after you eat one of those, your stomach does not feel any better.
Dude, I would have loved to see him at shoot around after that. That would have been fantastic. Probably would have not been too much different from a normal night.
Yeah, probably not. Trying to pull him off the bench.
So Iggy had big on this Iggy book, this Andre Iguodala book, right? Mm-hmm. He had a story in the book where he talks about this one, and I tried to pin it down to who I think it is. I think it's Josh Smith, just looking at his stats, because he was talking – it was a certain point in his career, but he talks about this one borderline Hall of Famer, perennial all-star coming up to him, and it's in the dog days of the season. And he comes up to him and just burps in his face and says, "I'm so drunk right now." And then he said that he dropped there. He never had another game as well as he played that game. So I scoured the Iguodala record books, and Josh Smith had like a career high against him.
That sounds that sounds like Josh Smith.
The 69th game of the year, so I think it's him.
Josh Smith looks like the game, and I could totally picture the game doing something like that. It all makes
right.
sense. It all makes sense.
Dude, that's definitely a Josh Smith stat, and that's also incredible research, by the way. Good job by you.
Yeah. Dude, I spent like an hour on it. I spent like an hour and a half on it. I was like, I
don't doubt that one bit.
I can't even wrap my head around who else it could have been. I mean, that just makes way too much sense.
So I had a couple of people that came to mind. Monta Ellis was another one on my list. And he actually
had who I just thought about.
He had a big game too. So it's a toss up between Josh Smith and Monta Ellis. But dude, in the game that I was talking about, and I'll have to find that again. It was like Josh Smith went like 88% from the field and had like 40 points, 12 boards. The Monta Ellis game was a little bit more like 30 points, not as big. And Monta drops that all the time, So I don't know. It was between those two, and I picked Josh Smith.
Yeah, I'm 100% on the Josh Smith train. I mean, I'm about as sure as that as I am about, the pooping of the pants thing.
And we were super sure about that. We turned out to be right.
I've never been more positive about anything in my life. Oh, man. Well, good to be back. All kinds of basketball crap going on. Kyle, I guess this is your first show with the new theme music, new season, new all that. What have your thoughts been on the season so far? Or, Josh, did you have something?
I've been vibing the music a lot, honestly, man. The first time I heard it, I was really excited. And listening to the China episode, listening to the most recent one. And you guys know I've been busy professionally and getting back in the clear here where I can really get back to breaking things down with you guys on here. But I've been keeping up and watched a good Celtics-Mavs game last night. I know your eye was on that too. And the two teams we talk about a lot. We're going to talk about a lot of teams tonight. But that was an exciting game. And I think it showed accurately that the Celtics are a more, mature and veteran team right now, and the Mavs are a young team, but it's two really talented teams.
I've got a bone to pick with the music.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I sent you like 10 clips of like the greatest calls of all time, and you chose the one that had Stephen Curry drilling. Do you know what game that was? And I have to listen to it every time we start this show. It was against OKC.
Yep.
Game 6.
No, it wasn't that one. That one. That would have been Klay Thompson, right? But it was.
Point, yeah.
We were up 2. It was in the middle of the regular season, and I think it was like game 3 that we were playing them, and we were up 2, and it was like 2 seconds left, and he pulled up from half court and just drilled a shot to beat us, and he went down and did the Bernie at the other end.
I remember that. He was on the left side of the floor, and he pulled up fast over Westbrook.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it wasn't even over Westbrook because Westbrook was like, he's at half court. Let him shoot, and he drilled it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's one of those iconic things. I know you hate listening to it, but I mean, it's so. I mean, it's almost an ode to the Basketball Book 2.0 podcast we've all been listening to. That Bill Simmons has been breaking down Steph Curry and everything, just absolutely brilliant as far as like the way his career is shaped up, and I think it's deserving to be in there. I know, I get it, I understand where your head's at, but it's just got to be there.
I sent it because I was like, I have to send this.
Yeah, like, no, I know you.
I hope that he doesn't choose it, but I have to.
I know you hated every second of it. And guess what I did?
And you really don't realize like how great Steph Curry was that decade or the last decade until you listen to Bill Simmons' book Basketball 2.0. I mean, it's insane. I just don't really put him in that respect as far as all-time greats. But I think I'm starting to now. I think he is a top 25 player of all time.
I've got him like 15 or 16 on my list right now. Yeah.
I haven't listened to his podcast at all.
Okay. You got to get on it at some point.
I'm going to wait until it's done.
Oh, dude, there's a lot. He's dropping like 4 or 5 episodes at a time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna go listen to it, but I haven't listened to it at all. I will say right now that Steph Curry is the best offensive player. He's in the Jordan Kobe statuesque for me. Like he might be. There's never been a player that does so much for his teammates with so little recognition.
I think that's a good point. Kobe and Jordan are on 2 different levels, I think, in Justin's mind, and
yeah, they are
probably on a different level in mine. Probably on like 7 different levels in his. But I mean, I think Steph is up there as far as all-time greatest scorer. But like,
he's the
KD is a guy I would
Jordan was
rather get a bucket from than Steph because he can do it in so many more ways.
Yeah, of course, but they're just different types of players.
If you could put KD or Steph on the floor,
KD
build around those both prime. You're putting KD on?
Yeah, not even close.
Dude, I might choose Steph.
No. Well,
listen, like KD doesn't spread the floor. The leadership factor. Players love playing with Steph, dude. They love playing with Steph. Which is it's crazy to say this, but he has more gravity on the floor than KD does.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but he's defensive liability most of the time. Even in his prime, he was average at best on ball, and KD has a 7'6" wingspan.
I agree with that, and I agree that KD was a better player. Stephen, like there are very few players that I say I will give up the defensive liabilities for what he does offensively. James Harden's in that league, but Steph, dude, like he revolutionized the game. You know the reason why people are shooting 3-pointers is because
absolutely.
Second, he had a 50-40-90 season where he scored 30 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, that's why guys are pulling 30-footers in LA Fitness every time. But
right.
He revolutionized the pickup game, right?
For better or for worse. But where's your head on that, Justin? Do you think KD or Steph prime?
I would probably honestly go KD just because the exact thing you said where there's so many different dynamic ways that he can make things happen. I can't wait for Josh to get into this because this is right up Josh's alley all the way. But during the Steve Kerr interview, so there's an episode where he interviews Steve Kerr and they talk about the Warriors and everything. So fantastic. And he talks about how it was interesting figuring out like how KD was going to work specifically in that offense. And I mean, that was the question that everybody had. The answer is perfectly. But at the end of the day, like it really was a challenge for their first little bit to figure out, how you get the ball in those guys' hands and make sure that they're facilitating it. And the thing that he said about Steph's leadership that just blows me away. I mean, I see it no matter what is like he wanted. I won't ruin too much for you, but he wanted to win so badly. He didn't care about it being in his hands. He would much rather put it in KD's hands. And I think he would tell you that more times over than anybody else. And I think that goes a long way. I love Steph as a player. He's just a different type of player.
Yeah,
exactly. If you haven't heard that Steve Kerr interview, go listen. But Josh, you would love it. But I can't get over the defensive liability part. Where do you put KD all time?
I've got him around 10.
I think that's wow.
Yeah, I've got him like 10, 11, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's definitely top 15.
Yeah,
for me.
I got to start like thinking. What do you do with Bob Cousy? Like that dude couldn't make a team this year.
I put him below KD.
Yeah, so you got to start looking at with the amount of talent that we have in the league. You got to start looking at should there be 2 separate lists? Should there be the greatest players of all time and then the most talented players of all time? Most talented players of all time for me, KD is top 10 at least, maybe even top 5 for most talented player of all time, right?
Yeah,
he's 7 foot, dude.
Because dude, I'm not putting Bill Russell in the most talented player of all time. That guy would get his lunch eaten today.
Maybe, but I mean, it's almost certainly. But like, I think there's
but he's a top 2, maybe he's a top 3 for sure for me.
Yeah, you can have all those lists and everything, but whatever I come down to it, like I just try to get past the eras and all that stuff and just try to think about what those players did for their teams and did for the NBA as a whole at that point in time. And just when I think about how KD has, helped shape the current game of basketball, he's still a little bit of an old school player, but he's dynamic as hell. He's got one of the best basketball IQs I've ever seen. It's top 10. It's almost not even an argument. I got to figure out, I think the biggest thing that I have to figure out with that, and you guys know, I tweak around with these lists and move things around and look at these lists. Kyle and I have talked about this list 20 times, and it's been different every single time we've talked about it. But it's one of those things where I don't know what to do with Kawhi yet. There's a lot of things I still have to work out.
Kawhi has an opportunity in my eyes to get to LeBron level. I have LeBron. I think you guys probably have him 2, 3, maybe 4 at worst. Yeah. If anyone tells me he's below 4, I have a hard time with that.
Agreed.
I have him at 2. I think Kawhi can get top 5 pretty easily. He needs a regular season MVP and another ring and just a few more consistent seasons of being the best defensive player and a really clutch 25-point scorer.
So speaking of that, a conversation that Kyle and I had the other day, Josh, I would love to know your take on this. So we've moved into this era of load management and everything, right? So obviously, so for you, does it work against Kawhi that he's playing 55 games or so?
Depends on what we're talking about, right? So there's two schools of thoughts, right? There's the pop, I'm paying you to win championships. And then there's the Jordan, where Michael Jordan has come out and said, I'm paying you to play 82 games a year.
Sure.
That's fair, dude. He's the owner. He's the one that's paying these players, right?
Yeah, and his team stinks out loud.
Yeah, exactly. So
just saying.
He can make that decision and he can say, hey, I'm paying you to play 82 games a year. You're going to play 82 games a year for me unless you're hurt. Probably not going to get as many free agents as the other guys.
Right.
So there's both. I see no fault in either of these things happening. Mm-hmm. Here's what I think is going to happen. Games don't make as much money whenever star players don't play. Television, they don't make as much money for tickets. They don't make as much money for the league. For sponsors, nothing. Eventually what's going to happen is television channels, sponsors, the teams are going to come in and say, hey, we're not going to load manage you. Or we're not going to do this as much as you want to do it. I think that's what's going to happen and what it's going to move forward to. And I think that what I would like to see is I would like to see the league come in and say, we want a list of your load management, right? We want to see you months out telling us which games you're not going to do so we can work different TV deals. Yeah. I would like to see that happen.
That's so unrealistic, though. It really is.
It is really unrealistic because then how do you go, he's not load management, he's just hurt, Well,
I look at it like this, though. The star players have so much power that they're going to continue to let them rest just a fourth of the games, or a third of the games. They're going to continue to allow that, even if I don't know. I know it's money driven. Justin always says that you got to follow the money, but I think the revenue will still be pretty high. They could still get these deals, even though Kawhi is missing 1 out of every 3 primetime games. I think they could still get it until it's worse than that.
I agree with you. And I just think that, if you're starting to have situations where guys are playing 30 games a year on purpose, that's absurd. We can't get to that, but I don't think they're going to get to that. It's not about not wanting to play. It's about the fact that your body isn't made to take a fucking pounding on hardwood every single night, night in, night out, back-to-backs, all that crap throughout the year. And I think that's where your biggest factor comes in. Kyle and I were talking about this the other day, and we were comparing it to baseball. There are very few Michael Jordans out there. There are very few, not Michael Jordan in baseball, I guess, but Michael Jordans in general out there. Look at Randy Johnson in baseball. Nolan Ryan played 20 seasons. Those guys just don't really exist in general. Those are freak athletes that just happen to be able to, to make things happen.
You can't compare everybody to LeBron and then say, hey, you should be like LeBron, right?
Exactly. And so that's where it comes into a really I get what Michael Jordan's saying, but everything that I love Michael Jordan, don't get me wrong, one of my favorite players of all time, but Michael Jordan doesn't know shit about the modern NBA, and it absolutely shows by the way he's built the Hornets over and over and over and over and over. And even though at the end of the day, he's writing the check, so he gets the final say on everything, and I get that. He deserves that.
That's all I meant by that.
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely deserves that, but does it transfer into winning basketball? Not so far. I mean, there was a season, I think it was like 2013 or 14, where they won 12 games.
Yeah. And that's all I mean by that is that, like,
for sure.
You do what your boss tells you to do.
Yeah.
If he's writing your checks, you're going to do it, Right. Otherwise, you're going to go to a different team.
Yep. That's a good point.
Yeah. To your original question, though, Justin, I do think that is an issue for Kawhi personally as far as legacy goes in terms of taking load management, because if he plays, 58 to 67 games each year, he's not going to get to the 30,000 points, to 10,000 assists or rebounds. He's not going to get some of those milestones, and he's not going to win an MVP is the bigger problem.
But I guess the other side of that, though, is if you look at it all in context, the rest of the league's doing it too going forward or whatever. I mean, if he's putting up fantastic numbers, maybe they're not that lofty, right? But like what it comes down to is efficiency, right? So if you're efficient and be able to do it in that amount of time, then more power to you. And that's where it gets really interesting. And that's why we've always had a hard time. We go back to the top 20, top 10 list, whatever. We've always had a hard time judging eras because this game changes so much, and we've just gotten so much smarter about how we play it.
That's true. I mean, I do. Yeah, it's hard.
It's just all relative, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I'll put Kawhi right now over Steph all time legacy.
Okay, I'll have to think about that.
It's not even close for me. I got him closer to KD.
Yeah,
I have Steph above both of those guys.
You can't put Steph above KD, man. Yeah, no way.
Yeah, he can and he will.
I don't understand the argument for KD. Like, what? Steph has more MVPs, has more championships.
Mm-hmm. Go look at all the numbers throughout his career.
How do you put KD over Steph? Like, you can say, yeah, he was a 7-footer that scored really well, but like Steph has better statistics. The only thing that KD actually has is defense over Steph.
KD has 4 scoring titles, 5 maybe. I don't know how many Steph has.
4, maybe. I think.
Nah, hell no. He got like
no. I was talking about KD.
Oh, okay, yeah, KD's got like 4. Steph doesn't have that many. Steph, I mean, dude, it's just the eyeballs to us. Like, too, like he can't defend good players in big moments. Like, none of these series did he guard Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul. None of those series did he guard any of those players.
Yeah.
So I'm just not as impressed by that.
Yeah, that's where it falls for me too.
That's fair. It's just like there's not a whole lot of legacy hung on the defensive side of the ball. It's not.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, but if you put Bill Russell top 3, there should be.
I put him top 3 because he has 11 championships in 13 years.
Right.
But that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but I get where you're coming from. Like KD, who's the better player? I think it's a toss up, but legacy wise, it's Steph. No doubt in my mind.
I disagree with that, but I get where you're coming from too.
You put him over Kawhi too. Kawhi's got more. Kawhi's got 3 championships on 3 teams, or no, 2 championships on 2 teams. Sorry.
I don't know about Kawhi. I definitely put him over KD. I don't know about Kawhi. To be honest with you, I don't think the league Kawhi came on by storm last year, because before you just thought of him as part of the Spurs system, right? So he came by storm last year. Really, I would say that the league started noticing his greatness last year.
Oh, that's definitely
so
true.
It's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to.
I guess that's true.
It's kind of hard to pivot from this guy's a product of a system to he's one of the greatest of all time in 1 year, right?
But that's the league.
That's why I'm still. Yeah, I mean, I still think that, right? So I still think he was. When you go back and you look at the Spurs, like he wasn't as great as he was in Toronto, right? He was great. He won a Finals MVP, but he wasn't dropping 30. He wasn't carrying teams. Right. So I need to see a little bit more Kawhi before I start considering that. Do I think that he has the ability to possibly do that? Yeah. He's not. But
I think he scored 21 and 25 his last 2 seasons in San Antonio, and they were on their way. And there was no Timmy D or Tony Parker. Like, it was just Kawhi pretty much at this point. They were on their way to beating the Warriors in that first game and giving them a run, right?
Under his foot.
So like he was playing elite at that level. And what he did last year was just. You just don't see that from guys, and I've never seen that. I mean, I've seen it from Steph in spurts, but he has so much support around him. It's like Kawhi's out there doing it with Kyle Lowry, who we just shit on the whole time. Gasol, who's never got there. He's doing it with guys that haven't been there before.
It's true.
And Steph's got really, really, really good players around him, really smart players that we all respect a lot. And, we'll see what happens this year. If Kawhi wins one of the Clippers, he's up there, bro, because that's 3 different teams. I don't know if anyone's even done that before. I'd have to look at that.
LeBron's going to this year, but
What?
I pray to God you're right.
I do not.
I pray to God you're right. But I do see a world where Kawhi catches LeBron in my eyes, and I don't want to say that. And I've known how good Kawhi was because I watched him guard LeBron as my favorite player when Miami was on San Antonio, when he was on San Antonio and Miami was playing him. And it was a problem. Like, I realized his greatness in those moments.
Yeah, that's fair. One other thing before I want to move on from this talk because we've got a lot of other things to cover.
Yeah.
Just like us to go down some stupid rabbit hole that doesn't matter right this second. This fact blew me away. Josh, you aren't going to believe this either. Kyle, you already know this, but Steph is the longest tenured player on any team in the NBA right now. Longest tenured with the same team. Unbelievable. Yeah, I know.
I know that like 50% of the league would change teams last year.
Yeah,
right.
40%. So I mean, after that, that's got to be true.
All you can do whenever you hear that fact is just sit there and think for a minute because you're like, I want to prove this motherfucker wrong, but you can't because
you're like, there's no way.
I did the same exact thing.
That's exactly what Josh's face just said to me. But dude, before we transition to like what we're seeing, in the early part of the season. My favorite thing when we talk about Steph Curry is when Josh calls him Stephen because he just sounds like a little kid.
I will always do that.
So
to him.
happy.
I'm gonna call him Stephanie every time.
Yeah,
I still don't forgive him for what he did to my Thunder.
So, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just saying. So, Kyle, what has probably been the biggest surprise for you so far this season in the NBA?
I mean, honestly, it's teams we talk about a lot. I'm going to try to find some we don't, but Boston. Holding it down at 8-1 as the number one team. I don't think they're going to finish the number one seed. I think they're with this start that they're on and the way they kind of look cohesive. Losing Hayward certainly hurts with the injury, but I do think that they can make a push. And honestly, Mavs, man, I've been really impressed with Luka and what I've seen out of them. But I think the obvious answer is the Suns. I just don't know if that's sustainable.
We know it's not sustainable.
That's just like the Kings last year. The Kings were like the 4 seed last year after 20 games.
It's true.
They missed the playoffs.
Kings started off super hot last year. I was talking to a guy the other day that knew basketball. And you can tell when somebody knows basketball when you're talking to them, right?
Oh, yeah.
This guy knew basketball. And I asked him who he thought the best team in the league was. And I'm expecting Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, Sixers. And he said the Celtics. And I kind of looked at him twice and I got to thinking about it and I was like,
are they?
He's not crazy. I don't think they're the best team in the league, but they're at least in the conversation, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the biggest thing that they have figured out is so they're getting the production out of Kemba that they need to get. And Josh and I talked a couple weeks ago about how he doesn't have to worry about playing as much defense as he has in the past because he's had to do it all when he was in Charlotte, but he doesn't have that now when you've got Juice and Tatum around you. Like those guys are fucking incredible. And I mean,
they're really evolving well.
Dude, Jalen is playing like a superstar in the making already. And he's not quite there yet, but he is off to a great start. And the fact, and we talked like a season, like it was at least a season ago now, and you guys asked, who would you go with, Tatum or Jaylen Brown? And you guys both said Tatum, and I said Brown. But
I said Brown.
Did you really? I know I said Juice as well.
I also said Brown.
No, at least one of you said Tatum. But regardless, I'm just saying that I think it was really mixed, and we all actually kind of leaned towards Tatum at the end of the day. Like it was one of those things that we could be talked either way into it, and. I honestly am I'm surprised, but I'm not that Jalen is kind of coming alive. And they haven't really missed Al Horford much either. It definitely sucks that Hayward broke his hand the other day. He's going to be out 6 weeks though. So that's not, it's big, but it's not they're off to a good start. If they're running the offense to him, but I think they can manage at least the way their schedule looks for the next month.
Yeah. I think
that was my first reply when that guy said Boston Celtics. I said, Gordon Hayward just broke his hand.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
but as far as the Jaylen Brown thing went, I remember at the first game of the year this season, I said, listen to these stats: 8 points, 1 steal, 7 boards, 0 assists. Dude sucks, So he's really come alive since then.
Definitely. Yeah, but I've been really pleased with them. Enes Kanter's played fine. I mean, the fact that they traded away superstar Aaron Baines is kind of a shitty situation, given how, that's starting to shape up right now.
Since he's leading the league in effective field goal percentage.
Correct.
They've gotten good fill-in play, though, with Kanter and Williams.
Yeah,
and,
Robert Williams
Williams.
Yeah.
Robert Williams rolling guys out there, man. It's been It's been impressive. Some other teams that have kind of just caught my eye as far as not doing what I expected. I think Trailblazers have been pretty underwhelming. 4-6. Watched them. I watched them play a good game against Dallas actually, but they were not impressive in that game, and I think they really are going to have to decide do they want to blow this up, because this team's not going to win a championship.
No,
Dude,
It's not going to compete.
I said at the end of last year, you can't win a championship without an elite big man in this league.
Although you thought they were
elite wing, excuse me. Elite wing. Sorry.
Yeah.
You were convinced they were going to beat the Warriors, though.
I said it at the end of last year. I was 100% convinced. I was convinced that the Warriors would go down to injury at some point, and I was right.
Yeah. Dude, the Rockets, too, if y'all been watching any of their games, Josh put us on with the League Pass, which, as you've said, Josh, I don't know how I lived without that.
It's so great.
It's so amazing as a basketball fan, but, you could just hop into these close games with the, 5-6 minute mark in the fourth quarter and really watch everybody in the league play over that time. And hopped in on 3 or 4 Rockets games, and they've been very underwhelming, but they're still 7-3.
They're still 7-3 for sure, but their schedule hasn't been very tough either. I mean, they're still got 2 superstars on their team,
and James Harden's still averaging 36 points a game.
Look at his field goal percentage.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I was just looking at this morning, actually. Yeah, no, they've been really. It's been an interesting thing trying to watch them fit a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, but Harden shooting 40.7 from the field and 29.8 from 3. Now I do expect those
shots. Then
I expect those numbers to go up, but he's shooting 14 threes a game, and the next highest in the league is Dame at 10, but Dame's shooting 39%. So it's like that's more acceptable. 14 threes a game. I heard this from Bill Simmons actually. If he shoots that, would be more than any team in the NBA shot, and he put the year out there, but it wasn't that long ago. It was like in the 90s. More than any team shot in a season, and he's doing that as one player.
Yeah, dude, he's just pulling. Like that's not. I don't think the Rockets are good.
I don't think so either, honestly. I think that their schedule has been very friendly to them.
They're going to do what we said, right? I said they were going to be the number 1 seed in the West and win like 55 games. They might go 55-27 and get bounced in the first or second.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook enjoys being bounced in the first or second.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, you know that for a fact. I do enjoy that. Andre Drummond is leading the league at 17.5 rebounds per game.
Dude, it's every year. He
does that
every fucking year. I know.
Has he been at 17 before though? There's no way.
He generally finishes 14-15.
Okay, 17 and a half is like Bill Russell type shit though. That's crazy.
Boy, I would love to see Dallas try to trade for him. That would be incredible.
That would be a nice fit.
That's what they need.
They need something more than Boban Marjanovic. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, you need someone that's switchable.
And KP's trying to play the 4 and be a stretch 4, which at 7-3, I love that if you can find a nice big man to roll with them. Because they do get beat up on the glass. Like Dwight Powell's nice to bring in off the bench, and
Maxi Kleber's fine.
Kleber, DFS is feisty, but like getting a real big, strong athlete like Drummond in the middle there.
That puts things over the top because we talked about this.
Lobs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dude, with Doncic, good God. But their biggest issue really is like they've had so many games where they've just barely been able to they've just barely lost, to be honest. Like that Lakers game probably should have won that game. The Knicks game the other night should have won that game. What's their record? 5-4 right now?
6-4.
6-4. That's a little bit of a fraudulent 6-4. Like they could easily be 8-2.
Correct, but that's what happens when it's a young team.
Oh, for sure, they can't close out games. What were you
who you guys need is Dwight Howard.
Oh my God, vegan Dwight Howard,
dude, he is a freaking monster, bro. He's playing out of his mind.
He's playing really good defensively.
He has a higher block percentage than he did in any of his 3 defensive player of the year years. He has the highest defensive rating in the league. That's the amount of.
He's a big part of their success.
For sure. Talk to me in like January when he's continuing to do this, because he won't. He's just, he's never been able to put it together in the last few years.
I think to Josh's point, he can maintain those if he only plays.
He's playing very little,
20 minutes a game.
Yeah.
What's he average? How many minutes is he averaging a game right now?
Probably less than 20.
It's got to be more than 20, dude.
20.4.
Okay, right on the nose. Interesting.
But dude, he's playing out of his mind, man. He's switching on the perimeter players. He looks like young Dwight Howard in those 20 minutes that he's playing.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see more. It's so early on. I don't like this. Isn't a Lakers thing. This is a Dwight Howard thing. I haven't seen him be Dwight since like the Orlando days.
And like I get that you're justified in those concerns, dude. I'm watching him play, dude. He's switching on the guards and he's guarding guards.
He's more
I get it, dude.
Yeah. But
also, the Lakers are the only team in the league to have 3 players in the top 10 in defensive rating on their team.
Pretty good.
That's flipping amazing.
I'm kind of on the fence here, and I see both your sides. I think he can maintain it if he plays low minutes. But to Justin's point, like, it is Dwight Howard, man, and this is a guy that went out for, what was it, glute injuries last year. So anything could happen. This guy's on a vegan diet, not sustainable for the long term. He's gonna fold.
We see it in football all the time. It never works out.
He needs some protein, man. He's gonna fold. Can't trust in that in a 7-game series. But before you man crush on Giannis, because I know you wanted to talk about that, because I think he's been the most impressive player in the league this year, even though we've seen some really great starts. Luka, 25, 10, and 9 right now. Could go triple-double. He's shooting 48.5% from the field, so it's not like Russ shooting 39 or something. And
it's crazy.
It's crazy. And I think he could be in the top 5 or 6 conversation, for MVP this year. And he's taken way more of a step forwards than I thought he would. And he's the only player in the league that's top 10 in points, rebounds, and assists.
He's carrying that team.
Yeah. Easily.
KP's looks like a number 2.
Well. KP looks like a guy who hadn't played basketball in almost 2 years. That's what he looks like right now. And he'll get there. It's going to take him some time.
KP looks like a guy that was he looks like an 8th grader who was a guard the year before and then hit his growth spurt and doesn't know what to do with his body. So he's scared of getting rebounds. He just wants to sit on the perimeter and shoot threes. That's what he flipping looks like.
That's perfect.
It's so true. That might be the best description I've heard so far. And I think the other part of that, and Josh, you and I hit on this last week a little bit, is I just don't know that he knows what to do in Carlisle's offense entirely yet. And it is a really weird spot because they need a big man. And so he's like kind of filling that role a little bit, but not really because he doesn't play the 5. He's just not that kind of guy. It just there's something janky about them that they need to get figured out, I think. And I think that post presence is a big part of it. I really do.
Yeah, he doesn't. For me, it's more on defense. Like, he's good at blocking shots and protecting the rim. Sure. He doesn't have any nasty to him. He doesn't body somebody and throw somebody out of the way. Like, you guys saw the videos that I was sending you guys where it was like he had a position. There was one in particular. He had a position on Hassan Whiteside. He's not playing well, by the way. And Whiteside came up and just put a butt into him and shoved him out of the way and got a board over him. Shot another shot, missed it. Went right to Porzingis, and Whiteside shoved him out of the way again and got an offensive board again and put it back in. It's just like he doesn't get low. He doesn't try to be strong. And when he goes up, he looks like he has spaghetti hands. He doesn't rip down the ball.
Yeah.
And that for me is a big deal when you have a 7-3 guy that's not switchable. You need him to be rebounding. Like, if he was switchable and he was playing on the perimeter and guarding people on the perimeter, it'd be different. But he's not. You need him to pull down boards.
I fully believe that he'll get there, though. But, I mean, do you really need that, though, as much if you have a big – like, I'm not saying they're going to get Drummond, but like a guy like Drummond or who – insert name there, Ayton or whoever, right? Like, if you have a big man that does that specifically, you probably don't need that as much from him.
No. If you have a big man that's averaging 12 boards and, like, is just there to board and play defense like Tyson Chandler was whenever Dirk was playing beside him, you don't need Porzingis to rip down 10 boards, right?
Right.
It'd be nice. You don't need it, but they don't have that right now, right? So they can do a couple of different things. Like, Luka's making up for it by pulling down 10 boards a game, but great teams don't rebound primarily from the small forward. Great teams rebound as a team, but not because they have to, Right. So, like, they at this point, Dallas has to. And so when you run into a situation where Anthony Davis plays against Porzingis or like another big like a Gobert or somebody that's going to rip down Andre Drummond, they're going to give him fits because they're going to be ripping down 20 boards a game because there's nobody to stop them in there.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Absolutely, that's a big hole they've got to get figured out for sure.
Dude, yeah, I mean, and I don't think they're going to for it because I think they realize how young they are. They have very like manageable money, and they don't have a lot of contracts on the book for
Going
any
forward.
big deals except KP. Really, I mean, everybody else is pretty minimal. It's like 11 mil and under for everybody else, and
Correct.
a lot of 1 and 2, 3 year deals. So, and Luka on the rookie deal, I think they're going to try to get somebody in free agency in the next year.
And I think they have a good pitch at that, because now you're not saying you've got, like, it's not a situation where you're like, I've got old Dirk and I've got Chandler Parsons with some maybe knees, and I've got, Wesley Matthews coming off of a Achilles injury. You've got a young core that
makes this 21-year-old kid that's just trying to feed you the ball like over and over. Like it's a really easy sell.
Luka's so good.
Yeah. Plus,
Luka's the only person I think in the history of the league that I could consider. I might take him over Giannis for the future.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I'm
not there yet, but he's two. He's two.
Getting there as far as who I'd build my team around. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some Giannis stats, Josh. I know you have a lot to share, because what is his per 36? He's only playing like 31, 32 minutes, right?
I've got one stat to share, and it's going to be the most amazing stat you've ever heard. All right, we're going to play. Name these 3 players.
Three players?
I know you love these. I know you love this.
I got to prepare myself.
So one of them is Giannis, obviously, right? The other one has a 31.7 PER, best they've ever had. The other one, 31.7 PER, best they ever had. 1 year was 1987. 1 year was 2008. Name those 2 players.
2008's got to be Kobe or LeBron.
It's LeBron. It's the best PER you ever had. And for our listeners, PER is a stat that every single year, it's the average player in the league is 15. So there's value over replacement players. VORP, wins above replacement is a big one in baseball. WAR. This is comparing the player to the average player in the league. So 31.7, you said LeBron for 2008, right? Mm-hmm. So LeBron was effectively double what the average player was in 2008 for the amount of stats that he was putting up. Okay,
so I got that one. You said 1986, and it was 31.7, highest of their career.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan?
Yeah, it's Jordan. The 2 best players of all time. 1 and 2, right? Giannis this year is at a 33.
I don't know if that's sustainable, but that's absurd.
That is absurd. And also, it's like you look at his stats, and I'm not going, there's no fluke games here, bro.
No.
He didn't drop 50 in any of these.
Yeah, he's at
think
what,
that this
for our
might
listeners,
be sustainable.
30, 14, and 6, 30, 14, and 7, somewhere in there?
Yeah, so he's at 29.7, 14 boards, 7 assists, 6.8 assists.
He's playing like 32 minutes
1.6 blocks, 1.3 steals.
That's load management, Kyle.
And that's at 33 minutes per game.
That's absurd.
He's
the best player. He's the best player in the league. I think I told you this, Josh. He's the best player in the league. Like, he's the most talented player. He's the player I'm starting a franchise with. He's the best player right now. But if I need to win one game or one series, I'm taking Kawhi Leonard.
He's about to be the best player of all time if he can keep this up.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with that.
I mean, yeah, if you can keep that up.
If you can keep up a 33 PER, it's statistically the best player of all time. Like, Wilt's probably got him beat, right? But dude, that's crazy. If he can sustain this, which, dude, like, I don't think this is a fluke. I don't think this is him coming out of the gates hot. I think he can get Giannis better. That's what's scary. I think this is the Giannis of this year. This is better than any year that Jordan or LeBron ever had.
And he's not shooting absolutely amazingly from outside, even though he's supposedly added that to his game. It's still not been pretty, and he still needs to get that better, which is terrifying, because this is a guy that could legitimately be on a 60-win team while probably averaging realistically 35, 15, and 8 while shooting 50% from the field. Like, that's doable for Giannis.
He's probably going to do all that this year. Well, maybe not.
He's not going to go 35.
He'll finish above 30, maybe at 7, and maybe at 15.
God, but they won't. But guess what? They won't win a championship, and you're going to pick them again.
Yeah, I
almost certainly.
I got to pick this guy out of respect, dude. I got to pick him to win a championship. Like, he's shooting 30% from the 3-point line. Last year, he finished at 25% from the 3-point line. So he's increased that. But man, dude, it's
pretty crazy.
It's never been done before. Nobody in the history of the league through 6 games, nobody had put up his numbers as far as assist points. And I read the stat off last.
He's there
last
9
week.
games now. We'll see. Let's reconvene it. Like, let's see where we're at. 25, 30 games. And if he's still anywhere near there, I mean, what we need to talk about, and I heard this on a pod, is that he might obviously win back-to-back MVPs. I mean, that's what we're trending towards. And there's only been 11 other players to do it, and it's a pretty outstanding list. So that's a big deal. And I don't know how many people have won it 3 times in a row.
Yeah, MVPs.
Yeah,
so LeBron did.
Yeah, I'm looking up the list right now.
LeBron did it once. Oh yeah,
I bet Jordan did too.
4 in 5 years. Yeah, it might be the only few players. I mean, maybe Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain. That's a very small list.
Yeah. All right, so you've got Steph, LeBron
for back-to-back or 3 in a row.
This is back-to-back.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Every back-to-back. So you've got LeBron. You've got Steve Nash. You've got Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic, Larry Bird, Moses Malone, Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell.
That's absurd. That's
a hell of
all top 15 players.
Yeah, that's some company for sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not unrealistic to think Giannis could win 3 to 4 in a row.
Yeah, I wouldn't correct you on that.
Who's going to stop him? I mean, it's going to be Kawhi's going to. LeBron's too old. It would have to be like 80 or Luka maybe would be like your best bets to stop him.
And even then, he's
going to start being like the Warriors 3 years ago for the finals, like minus 250 to win MVP. Like he's going to start being bad odds.
But dude, you think about that though. Like, how does he possibly stay in Milwaukee after this? Like,
he does not. He does not stay in Milwaukee. I've been saying that.
I agree with you, and it's not about the money for him. So it's going to be about who can make the best pitch to win.
Josh's face doesn't say he agrees with me, but I'm interested to hear.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want so bad for him to stay in Milwaukee, but is
this an OKC small market type of thing?
This is me going, my small market boys need to be able to hold this guy down, but because I know what it feels like to lose that type of player. I know it,
dude. It's got to be terrible.
And then you're stuck with Chris Middleton, which is even worse than Russ and Eric Bledsoe. God.
And the Lopez is.
God.
Losing Brogdon hurt them a lot.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Far, yeah.
Although Wesley Matthews is filling in nicely.
Go figure, dude.
That'll fall apart, I assure you.
Yeah. Yeah, Wes has still got some value. It's just different value than he had before.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a scrappy defensive player. He's a good locker room guy. Like dudes like him, and he can hit big threes. He was actually on a team last year, the end Pacers there, that I've been really impressed with them because they started out 0-3. And they're sitting at 6-4 now. This is without Vic still. I kind of like the position they're putting themselves in because once he comes back, they're only going to get better. They were the 3 seed when he went out last year, and we kept saying, "Oh, they're not going to sustain this." And it was like, dude, it was like 48 games in, and I'm like, we can't say that anymore.
Yeah, it's getting harder to make that case. Josh, you seem like you are dying to. You seem like you found something that you're just dying to.
I just found a really funny stat. LeBron's assist percentage is 51%. Assist percentage is an estimate of the percentage of teammate field goals a player assisted while he was on the floor.
Right.
So that means when LeBron's on the floor, 50% of the points are coming from a pass from him.
Well, he also plays with Anthony
also
Davis.
hogging the shit out of the ball, too.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, they showed a stat. If you said it's touches per game, so not usage, because usage involves shooting, which is Harden. Touches per game, how many times you touch the basketball?
I bet Jokic.
So I was thinking it was Jokic and LeBron, who were both in the top 5. LeBron was 2, Jokic was 5, Luka was number 1.
Wow.
By a pretty good amount. It was like 5 touches a game over LeBron and like 15 touches a game over number 3. Like his hands are all over the ball.
Yeah.
But I do like this Pacers team though, man. I know it's not a sexy team. Right. With Vic there, it's a little more exciting. But,
yeah, for sure.
Did you see what he was wearing tonight?
No.
Oh no.
He was wearing a purse.
Hell yeah, a merce.
Legit wearing a purse.
Handbag.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Handbag. It looks like a mattress too. It was weird.
What?
I digress. Yeah, it was super weird.
You're gonna have to find this and send us a picture of this later.
All right.
I just really think when you have Brogdon and Vic on the floor at the same time, it's going to be a problem for people. Like Oladipo in the league in steals last year before he got hurt. Brogdon is a terrific defender. That's a lot of versatility. Like we were sitting here talking about, Patrick Beverly and Kawhi and Paul George and, Conley and Donovan Mitchell and some of these other elite guard and slasher defensive front courts or back courts, excuse me. But I really actually think the Pacers have the best defensive backcourt when I look at it.
Here's the other difference too: is the Pacers have a flipping rim protector.
Yeah,
that
helps.
Dude,
Myers Leonard.
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner. I don't know.
Yeah,
What
Miles Turner. I said
Miles
Myers
Bridges, my
Leonard.
boy.
I want to say Miles Garrett. Miles
Okay.
Turner
Miles Garrett.
is really come on as a good rim protector, good rim runner, and he's just a good athlete for his size. They added T.J. Warren, another good player from Phoenix, and it's kind of just a scrappy team that I think if they can hang in there to 20 and 15 when Vic comes back, I think they'll make a push for a 4 or 5 seed pretty easily
And get bounced in the first round like they typically tend to do.
If they have to play Boston, it certainly will. But if Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee go 1, 2, 3, whoever that 5th seed isn't going to beat them. I can look at the standings right now. I'm not going to find a Raptors, Heat. Siakam's been
Raptors
very
scary.
impressive. Yes, Siakam took that leap to
Also,
where I thought he was going to be a max player. I think he looks like he's a guy you got to max now. I don't know if he's an all NBA player, although the East is weak, so it's possible. But he's certainly low level all star at this point.
dude, he scares me. If I was a GM, he would scare me.
Why?
Because you don't know about the Wiggins effect yet. And this year's his max year, right? His contract year. He's averaging 26 points per game this year, which is freaking balling, right? That's great.
Defensive player though.
Then Wiggins. Well, you're thinking Wiggins now. Like Wiggins' contract year was good, and there was a reason why they maxed him. It's scary for me whenever I see a player that comes on 1 year before the contract year, because you don't know if it's a fluke or not. You don't know if the teams are going to realize it and then try to key on him, and it's going to be completely different. But it's a good problem to have, right? You got to figure out whether you got to max this guy.
I think he really came into his own. He had some ups and downs in the playoffs last year, but I think he played really well overall.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So,
I mean, he won MIP for a reason.
Right.
But
right. So
yeah,
I don't know. I would max him or at least give him. I wouldn't. The KP deal 5 for 158. That's not crazy.
No,
Yeah.
No, definitely not. Let's see. What else we got here?
Dude, another team that's actually surprised me is it shouldn't surprise me, but the Spurs. For them to even be 500 in the conference, and they've had some games, but I just don't know how the Spurs team is in today's NBA even playing, where everything is just even more than it was like 2 years ago. It's so spread out, and there's so much shooting. I mean, we're on a pace for an insane amount of all-time threes by it's not even close. The fact that they're even competitive in these games is crazy to me. I mean, they played the Clippers down to the wire.
Yeah, they did. I'm actually going to see them play the Mavericks next Monday, and I'm really excited about this game because I haven't really had a chance to sit down and watch the Spurs like fully. But I have a feel like the feeling I've gotten is that I'm not missing a whole lot from what I've seen in previous years.
Yeah. So what's great about the Spurs offense is, there's a reason why Pop can plug anybody in that offense is because it doesn't take a whole lot of talent to knock down a mid-range jumper. And that offense is designed for you to be able to knock down open mid-range jumpers because you're passing the ball around so much. So all you have to do is know the offense and make the pass that the offense is about to give you, right? And then knock down a mid-range jumper. And that's going to make them perennially contenders for the playoffs, right? They don't have any talent on their team besides LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. Nobody's taking anybody off the ISO. Maybe LMA in the post. DeMar isn't really that guy anymore. But all you have to do is be able to knock down a mid-range shot. Right, and they're going to score with you.
True.
They spread the floor. Just they happen to do it at 18 feet instead of 21 feet.
That's an issue, though.
It is.
Not for them. Like
it will be.
See. This might be the year.
They have a bet. Yeah, sure. This might be the year, but they have a better record than this roster is. They're always going to be better than their roster.
Well, yeah,
that's a good point.
That's the pop effect for sure. That's the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
dude. The Grizz are kind of turning into kind of the shitty league pass team that I enjoy watching because I just like watching Ja Morant a lot and
He
Triple
is
J.
so good.
Like I'm like, how is this? This looks like 100. I mean, he is. He's a 160-pound man, but he's incredibly athletic.
Yeah.
And then, dude, Sacramento. That's the team I had slotted in there, kind of around that 9 seed, competing for a playoff. And me and Justin have talked about this. I don't know if Luke Walton's a bad coach, if those guys don't want to play for him, if these players aren't going to develop into the players that we thought they were. But I've been just very unimpressed from guys I like, and De'Aaron Fox and Hield and Bagley.
It just
it's
seems
weird.
like Luke Walton doesn't. I don't know. Like we talked about this because I do think it's interesting. Like he we don't really know what kind of coach he is because he stepped in to fill in for Steve Kerr, which, let's be honest, that team didn't really need a coach. Like, you had
Correct.
Steph Curry, Clay, and KD on the same court. Like, it pretty much ran itself, and not to mention Draymond. So, like, all that aside, like, he never really got that chance. And then he got to LA, and then Rich Paul showed up, and then LeBron showed up not long after that. And it just, he was never the guy, like, he was never LeBron's guy, so that was never going to work. So this is the first time we've seen him have kind of control over things, I guess, a little bit, and really, see how it's going to go. And honestly, not impressive so far. And I don't know how long of a leash they're gonna give him, but they can't afford to wait around too long on him, I think.
Fox is out 4 weeks also with the sprained ankle, so
Doesn't help.
Not gonna do them any favors. And
Buddy Hield is really taking a step back too. He's averaging about 2 points per game less, and he's shooting a lot worse percentage.
the
He's still taking the same amount of shots. Yeah.
Yep, exactly what I was about to bring up. It's just Buddy Hield's percentages just are not where they need to be.
Is that a system problem then?
What
is that? Like a coaching systems problem? Do you think, Josh?
Honestly, I think he was concentrating on his contract. Like, it's okay to be a hard ass whenever you're in contract negotiations, right? But whenever you start making it public, I start questioning what's going on in your mind.
Tell me more. Yeah, tell me more about that.
So he came out publicly and said, "Hey, I'm walking if you don't give me this contract."
For sure.
And it was very
$25 million, right?
Yeah, and it was a pretty heavy contract. It wasn't quite max, but it was pretty high.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that behind closed doors. Like, I'm okay with that behind closed doors.
Sure.
But I think that whenever you start making it public and when you start shopping yourself,
that's a shitty thing.
I agree.
And stuff, your mind's not on playing it, right? He might get back up to where he was last year, but just right now he hasn't shown that yet.
That's true.
What's his fair market value to you right now? I'd give him a 4 for 84, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon type deal.
Dude, this guy could be a 50, 40, 90 guy.
Right?
Could be, but he's not there yet, and he hasn't proven that yet. And he's
23, 24 now?
Yeah.
Something like that. I'll be
27?
He played 4 years at OU.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. De'Aaron Fox is only 21, and he's averaging 18.2, 7, and 4 in 32 minutes. Not great percentages, but still give me that as a 21-year-old.
I mean, whenever it comes to like guys holding their team hostage like that, I mean, the answer you're always going to get from me is take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Like, 4 for 84 is the most I would go on a guy who's barely proven.
Yeah,
really, truly.
Yeah, that's the Wiggins effect, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at what happened there. I mean, it's really interesting.
And he didn't hold them hostage.
No,
they held themselves hostage,
dude. But Andrew Wiggins is a brilliant individual. I don't care what you tell me. He's brilliant. He's beyond brilliant.
Dude, you work your ass off for 10 years of your life and drop 200 mil. You're fine. You're good, right?
Pretty fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that he lives up to that contract, or
No.
are we writing this off?
I don't think he has a drive, man.
I don't think he has the drive, and I think it's like it's only it's what, in year 2, something like that of that deal.
Might be 3.
Might be 3. Yeah. Maybe if their fearless leader Karl Anthony Towns would step up.
Shut up.
He's actually played fantastic.
He's freaking phenomenal, bro.
He's so good. But you guys, like, I'm just waiting for you to be like, fuck, Kyle was right. Like, he's just not a champ, bro. Like, I'm
waiting for you to be like, Josh and Justin were right. He's so good.
I've been saying the whole time how good his talent is, and that has he played in a playoff game?
Dude, this is surprising. Hold up. Wiggins is averaging 25 points a game this year.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
that's very solid.
He's actually averaging. I just looked at it. He's 14th in the league, tied with Karl Anthony Towns. They're both at 25.5.
He is shooting 47% from the field. Not bad.
No.
33% from the 3-point line. Pedestrian.
Terrible.
He's just taking a lot of shots. So it's
33.8 is fine.
Yeah, that's not crazy. What's his PER? That's not crazy efficiency. But
Josh is going straight to the PER for all answers.
Son of a
not 33.
Equalizer.
Yeah,
not 33. This guy sucks. 21. So yeah, good. Like, compare that to last year. His PER was 12, which means that he's worse than the average player in the league, right? Getting paid max contract.
Let me ask you this though, Josh, because I'm bagging on Karl Anthony Towns pretty hard here, but. Yeah. If you're a great player, can't you at least get your team in the 8th seed, even if you're in the West?
No.
Well, what if Luka does? What if Luka does it?
I'm just joking with you. Luka has more help on that team than Karl Anthony Towns does.
Definitely.
Definitely. But
I don't know about that.
Like Porzingis.
Porzingis and Wiggins, dude. Porzingis is not playing good right now.
Porzingis is better than Wiggins of last year for sure.
Yeah.
Plus, dude. So let me read off these stats to you.
I mean, go ahead, Josh.
25 and 12. That's all I got to say. 25 and 12. Shooting 83 for his career. He shot 83% from the 3-point line. He's shooting 40% from the 3-point line.
Have I ever doubted the man's talent, though?
Yeah, for sure. But like,
they're 6-4 right now. They're in the 8th seed, so we'll see if they can hold it for.
It's the Devin Booker thing.
Months.
Like, are these empty stats? You know?
Yeah.
Like First off, rebounds are never, ever, ever empty stats because there's no efficiency on rebounds.
Right.
Unless you have Steven Adams giving you all your rebounds, right, Russell?
Well, there's been a power forward for the last 25 years in Minnesota that's had really great stats and then had to go to other teams to win championships and get assistance from other players in KG and Kevin Love. And I think that is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns' case. If he stays there, he's not going to win a championship.
Yeah, but I also think
that was never my argument, though.
Right, mine either. And I also think it's unfair to hold him to that standard of like LeBron because he's not LeBron James. Like
that's
there's very few people.
Okay, so let me stay on the argument.
Yeah,
is he? I mean, has he shown you or exhibited anything to you that he's grown as a leader or can be a leader of men and be the heart of that team?
No, but I think
when you watch. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say when you watch it, you just don't see that out of him.
Agreed.
And that's okay from some guys. Like you can be that passive guy, but I mean, he can never be an ultimate all-timer if he's not that guy to me.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing that he's ever going to be a top 50 all-time player, top 25 all-time player. Okay. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that he's flipping good. Like he has Anthony Davis type talent.
So we're not as far apart on this as we thought we were. I just
no, definitely not.
I enjoy bringing it up.
And to be fair, I don't think that Anthony Davis would be a leader either.
Boy, are we gonna see?
I don't think that he can be a leader. Like LeBron's the leader on that team. Like it doesn't matter what they do this year. LeBron's the leader on that.
And
team.
You can tell.
I don't. Yeah.
There's
exactly. I don't think that Anthony Davis will ever be a leader on a team, regardless of whether he's the best player or not. There's a difference between being the best player and then being able to lead a team, right?
Yeah, I think him and Cat have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, so that's and talent-wise, AD is probably a better defender. But other than that, man,
yeah,
Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't have the mid-range game that AD does either. But he can shoot better from the 3-point line. Dude, Anthony Davis is so freaking good. These guys are both so good. Anthony Davis can shoot jump back or step back jumpers. He's a 7-footer that shoots step back jumpers and has a post game and
a mighty fine one at that.
He's so good.
I can't even tell you guys how happy I know the we've talked about this ad nauseum on the show already, but I know the odds are at like 5%. But the very fact that he could potentially leave LA after this year makes me so happy inside. It's not going to happen. Yeah, that's absurd. Dude, he's not going to go out there and say, "Yeah, I'm going back to the Lakers." Like then they're going to sit there and lowball him. Like that's even though think about the Lakers though. Like as far as
crazy that it comes to that though.
I know
that's just
where he has to
the
say,
world we live in.
Where he has to say, "I'm going to go to fucking Chicago."
He has to act unhappy on a 7-2 team. It's like why can't we just enjoy this? Like
what's crazy is that he's 9 games in and people are asking him about what he wants to do next year.
I'm aware. Oh yeah, they were.
That's what's crazy.
They were asking about that last year.
How about get into the playoffs this year? Like that's something this team hasn't done in a long time.
Prove yourself one time, pal.
Justin, you better never get us those press passes because I will punch the shit out of a person that's questioning Anthony Davis in regards to that.
I would too.
Don't allow me in that room with those. I can't even think what they're called. Reporters?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Reporters? Because they're not freaking reporters.
Podcast hosts.
They're working for Glamour Gossip magazine. Like, who the heck asked that question? I will hit somebody if you get us press reports. I can't do it.
All right. Well,
we're really selling us on getting those.
I know.
Appreciate
I hope the NBA is not actually listening.
How do you feel about the Lakers Bucks prediction that you gave me right before the year started? Still feeling pretty solid about that?
I think I hit that on the nail on the head, honestly.
I went with the pretty stereotypical Clippers Sixers, which wasn't as stereotypical when I picked it since we did it a little early, but I still feel pretty good about that as well. I mean, I think those are 4 of the 6 best teams in the league at worst. Probably the 4 best teams.
I didn't put in my official picks with you guys, but I had Clippers and Philly coming out too.
Yeah, I know you didn't have the Lakers.
I definitely didn't have the Lakers, but I
I think you would have to say, though, through 9 games, it's been a little bit better than you would have anticipated.
Definitely.
Right.
But I've been on record by saying, though, that it's not about LeBron and AD. It's not about any of that. It's about the rest of what's there. And whenever they start to struggle with
Jared Dudley.
Right. Whenever Dwight Howard gets hurt, things like that, whenever the dynamic starts to shift, that's where the changes are going to be. Josh and I talked about on the episode that after I went to that Lakers game with when they played the Mavs here in town, that you could tell there were times whenever AD wasn't on the court where LeBron was looking around just being like, these motherfuckers, like, these are the people I'm playing with. And that's where the attitude and ego comes in. LeBron has done a great job of checking that so far, though, and I'm impressed by that. I'll give him that. I'm impressed by both him and AD, but again, that was never going to be the problem.
There will be a story this year where LeBron loses it with his teammates, though. It's just,
I can't wait.
It's guaranteed.
I can't wait.
I never felt that way about, like, I remember you saying that. I do remember you saying that, Justin, but I never felt like, dude, I think that they put a fantastic team around him.
Okay. We'll see. See how it goes. And again, it's not even about the players, though. It's about what happens when it unravels. And like the way that teams react are all about the championship type of
That is
mindset.
very fair.
And
what happens when you hit adversity?
Right. Like
when you hit
what
adversity, the thing is, though, you want guys like Danny Green. So they have some of those right guys, but then they have the Rondos and the Dwight Howard. So it's going to be interesting to see which way it falls.
And I'm sure they'll get Melo in there anytime now.
I don't hate that.
Okay. Okay.
I do.
They will.
I've seen what Melo does to a team. I hate it.
Oh, he took you from a first-round bounce to a first-round bounce?
Yeah, amazing.
God dang it. Yeah.
All right,
I see what
fellas.
Melo does to my heart. The Clippers, my concern about them is they have no playmaking.
Yeah, we'll see.
And Kyle, you said that at the beginning of the year.
We also haven't seen Paul George play with this team yet. That helps.
And I just want to see that team in a 7-game playoff series play their fully turned up defense. I think that's going to be an issue for teams.
Agreed. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Been a fun hour. Kyle, it's good catching back up with you, pal. I'm glad you're back from here on out. Lots of fun stuff to talk about throughout the season, it seems like.
Yep, glad to be back, man. Can't wait to do it. I'm sure we'll do it again here within the week or so and be a little further in. And if Giannis's PER is any higher, everybody look out for Josh.
Follow Josh on Twitter for updates.
Look out for little Josh.
Yeah.
Am I right? Heyo.
Well, follow Josh on Twitter for those kinds of jokes and more. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.
See you, man.